Welcome to Ace My Exams Learning. Let us get started with today's learning.
Read and answer the questions below. Malaria is a life-threatening disease responsible for over 400,000 deaths worldwide each year. Question: name the protozoan that causes malaria. The correct answer is Plasmodium. This is the protozoan parasite responsible for causing malaria. When an infected Anopheles mosquito bites a person, it injects Plasmodium parasites into the bloodstream. These parasites first travel to the liver, where they multiply before attacking and destroying red blood cells, leading to the symptoms of malaria. Question: name the vector that spreads malaria. The correct answer is Anopheles mosquito. This mosquito is the vector, meaning it carries and transmits the malaria-causing Plasmodium parasite from one person to another. When an infected mosquito bites a human, it transfers the parasite into the bloodstream, spreading the disease. Question: list the symptoms experienced by people with malaria. People infected with malaria experience several symptoms, including 1. Fever and chills. These are the most common symptoms. The parasite infects and destroys red blood cells, causing repeated episodes of high fever, sweating, and chills. 2. Headache, nausea, and vomiting. As the immune system fights the infection, the body reacts by triggering headaches, nausea, and vomiting, which can lead to dehydration and general weakness. Question: explain why malaria is only found in certain regions of Africa. Malaria is common in certain parts of Africa because of the warm and humid climate, which provides the perfect breeding conditions for the Anopheles mosquito. High temperatures allow the Plasmodium parasite to develop inside the mosquito, making it more likely to be transmitted to humans. Regions with stagnant water sources, such as lakes, ponds, and swamps, also support the breeding of these mosquitoes, increasing the spread of malaria. Grade 11 learners conducted an experiment to determine the optimum temperature for growth of bread mold. The following procedure was undertaken. 4 labeled plastic containers, A, B, C, and D, were used. A slice of bread was placed in each container and sprinkled with 20 milliliters of water. The containers were stored in different conditions as listed below. A. Fridge. B. Cupboard. C. Room temperature. D. Window sill. After 1 week, the bread slices were removed and compared for mold growth. The experiment was repeated twice for reliability. The results: after 1 week, the highest mold growth, 75%, was observed on the bread placed on the window sill, followed by room temperature, 50%, and the cupboard, 25%. The least mold growth, 5%, occurred in the fridge. Question: identify the A. Dependent variable. Dependent variable. The growth of bread mold is the dependent variable. A dependent variable is the factor that is measured or observed in an experiment to determine how it is affected by changes in the independent variable. In this investigation, the amount of mold growth on the bread slices was recorded as a percentage after 1 week. Since the mold growth depended on the temperature conditions in which the bread was placed, it is classified as the dependent variable. B. Identify the independent variable. The temperature is the independent variable. An independent variable is the factor that is deliberately changed or controlled in an experiment to observe its effect on the dependent variable. In this case, the bread slices were placed in different environments with varying temperatures, inside a fridge, in a cupboard, at room temperature, and on a window sill. The purpose of the investigation was to examine how these temperature differences influence the growth of bread mold, making temperature the independent variable. Question: what did the learners do to improve the reliability of their investigation? The learners repeated the investigation to improve its reliability. Repeating an experiment ensures that the results are consistent and not just due to chance. By conducting the investigation multiple times, the learners could confirm that the mold growth patterns observed were accurate and not influenced by random external factors. This increases the credibility of their findings. Question: identify one factor that was kept constant during the investigation. One constant variable in the investigation was the amount of water sprinkled on each slice of bread, which was 20 milliliters. Keeping this factor the same ensured that any differences in mold growth were due to temperature rather than varying moisture levels. If the amount of water had been different for each slice, it could have affected the results, making it unclear whether temperature or water availability was responsible for the differences in mold growth. Coronavirus, the world's greatest enemy. Question: state 2 recommendations to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The following recommendations can be used to prevent the spread of coronavirus. 1. Regular hand washing. Washing hands frequently with soap and water helps remove virus particles, preventing the spread of the virus, especially after touching contaminated surfaces. Proper hand hygiene significantly reduces the risk of infection. 2. Covering the mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing. This prevents respiratory droplets containing the virus from being released into the air, reducing the chances of infecting others. Using a tissue or the elbow to cover coughs and sneezes is an effective measure. 3. Maintaining social distancing. Keeping a safe distance from others, particularly in public spaces, minimizes the risk of inhaling respiratory droplets carrying the virus, thus reducing person-to-person transmission. Question: give one reason why it is difficult to develop a cure for viral diseases. Viruses are non-living and rely on host cells to replicate. Unlike bacteria, which can be killed with antibiotics, viruses cannot be destroyed in the same way. Developing a cure is challenging because antiviral treatments must target the virus without damaging healthy human cells, making treatment complex and difficult. Question: explain the effect of coronavirus suppressing the immune system in people with underlying conditions or diseases. 1. Overloads the already weakened immune system. People with underlying health conditions, such as diabetes, heart disease, or respiratory illnesses, often have an immune system that is not functioning at full strength. When coronavirus attacks the body, their weakened immune system struggles to mount an effective defense, making them more susceptible to severe illness. 2. Higher risk of infections. Since their immune system is already compromised, these individuals are not only more vulnerable to severe COVID-19 symptoms, but also at greater risk of developing secondary infections, such as bacterial pneumonia or other viral illnesses, further worsening their health. 3. Reduced ability to recover. A weakened immune system means the body takes longer to fight off infections. As a result, people with pre-existing conditions are more likely to experience prolonged illness, severe complications, organ damage, or even death due to their body's inability to fully eliminate the virus. Question: state 1 significance of vaccines in the human body. They stimulate the immune system to produce antibodies. Vaccines trigger the immune system to recognize and prepare antibodies against specific pathogens, ensuring that if the body is exposed to the pathogen in the future, it can respond more quickly and effectively. This process helps protect the body from infections by training the immune system to recognize and neutralize harmful invaders before they can cause serious illness.
To access more learning and exam preparation materials, go to www.acemyexams.coza. This link is also in the video description below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe and be the first to know when we upload new videos.